beautiful. Check out what I have in my possession today. It's the Urban Decay NAKED2 Basics eyeshadow palette. I cannot wait to open this, show you swatches, and we are going to do a couple of looks in today's video. So without further ado, let's get started. So this palette is made in the USA and it claims to have a 24-month shelf life. As far as I remember, my Maybelline Nudes palette must be like 4 years old, but it still works fine, so that's alright. This is what the palette looks like. The packaging is definitely plastic, but the feel to it is slightly like rubbery. And now let's open it, and these are what the shades look like. I think they all look really very matte, except maybe this one. This one just looks slightly sheeny, like it has like a slight satin vibe to it. Let me just read what the packaging says. Cooler in tone than our original Naked Basics palette, this taupe hued palette features 5 never-before-seen matte shades for lids, crease and liner, plus 1 demi-matte shade that's perfect for highlighting. That makes sense. This retails for like $35 in the US, and I don't think it's available in India right now if I remember correctly. But yeah, $35. Let me just take one last look at it, looking all pristine and new, and let's go ahead and start swatching. Here are the first 3 shades. This is Skimp, which is that satin looking beige shade. This is Stark and this is Frisk. Let's just see what it looks like. Okay. These are the next 3 shades. This is Cover, this is Primer, and this is Undone. I hope I'm not overlapping with the previous 3. Yeah. Oh my god. Extremely impressed with this last shade, the darkest shade, Undone. All of them just felt so smooth, and they just practically look so beautiful on my skin. But this, the color payoff and the pigmentation is just brilliant. So these are what all the shades of the palette look like. Honestly, I'm pretty excited to create a look with all of them, but I have to say that the second and third, which are Stark and Frisk, are almost like undetectable on my skin tone. I have a golden medium complexion, and I can already tell that these two are like so close that you can't even see them on my skin. But yeah, very excited to sort of create looks with all of them, particularly this last one. Let's just get started with the eyeshadow look. Okay, so for the first look, I am thinking of applying this shade Skimp on my crease because it has that really nice soft satin vibe. I'm going in with my MAC 217 brush, and I'm just going back and forth, starting from the center of my crease and then moving on to the outer side. I'm also bringing that back inside in the inner part of the crease, and you can see that it's like a nice cool toned beige on my warm golden skin. I'm just going in back again with a little more color to sort of deepen it, and now we're just blending it. So we don't have a lot of like warm or shimmery shades in this palette. Next, I'm going to go with Primal, which is the sort of the only yellow toned brown in this palette. I have taken my PAC eyeshadow application brush, and I'm going to apply Primal on the outer third of my eye. I'm just going in with a patting motion. I'm going to extend it slightly outside the area of my eye, just to give it like this really nice smoked out vibe. I'm going to flip my brush and again apply Primal to my lower lash line, sort of give it that smoky vibe and extend the shade to the outer V that we've created. I'm going to apply a little bit more to deepen the color. Now for the inner 1/3 of the eye, I would have liked something warmer or slightly shimmery, but since we don't have that, I am going to go with Frisk, and I'm using my Sigma Short Shader E20 brush. I like how beautifully this shade goes with the other two, but it's also true that it's so close to my skin tone, it just looks like I'm applying nothing to my eye. For the inner corner highlight, I'm going to go again with my MAC and use a skimp on the innermost corner of my eye. And I'm also going to use my Sigma to put a little bit of skimp on the inner lower lash line, just to make the look more cohesive on both the lid and the lash line. I have to say, I love that the shades are pigmented and I love how smooth they are. I love how smoothly they are blending. But you can see that they're so close to my natural skin tone that I am not sure how much the camera is catching or how much it's going to be really visible throughout the day. I'm going to put just a little bit of kajal on my waterline. This is the Rene Midnight Kohl pencil. So I know that this eye is like really subtle, which is what you can do with a naked palette. But I'm going to try and make things a little bit more dramatic on this eye. We'll go with the darker shade and try to do something smoky, something more bolder than what I've done here. But I wanted to sort of show you the entire range of this eyeshadow palette, right from what you can do for a subtle eye and right to what you can do for a darker, bolder, smokier one. Of course, I'm going to show you what this look looks like with mascara and lashes, but we'll do that towards the end. I'll do the second eyeshadow look now. I'm also thinking maybe going to zoom in a bit so that you can see what I do on my other eye more clearly. So I've zoomed you guys in a little bit just to give you like a better view of what I'm doing to my eye. I should have done that earlier too for this eye, but hey, we're all learning. So for the second look, I'm going to start with Stark, and I'm using my MAC 217 again because I'm going to use it the same way that I did for the previous eye. I'm going to go in with my crease, apply to the center, and sort of extend it inwards. Again, we're going to use like these small tapping motions to apply this. And I'm also applying it to the outside of part of my crease. Blending this again. Honestly, I think this is like my favorite transition shade from this palette. It blends so well and it looks so beautiful. It's got like a very cute, I was going to say, but it looks nice. I like the color that this has. It's really soft and easy to blend, and the color is so pretty. It's like a nice cool toned beige, but it has a slight pink tone to it. I think it's really pretty. I mean, I like how this is looking, and I can even imagine just putting this and a little bit of shimmer on the inner part of my eye and just calling it an eyeshadow look. But I'm also putting a little bit on the outer third of my eyelid and sort of blending it up into the crease. Okay, so now with my PAC eyeshadow applicator brush, I'm going to go in with Undone and apply this on top. Oh my god, look at that pigmentation. This is insane. I'm just going with this really light tapping motion and also bringing it up slightly upwards into my crease by creating like these really small circles from the tip of my brush. The color payoff on this is insane. Like a little bit goes like a really long way. Okay, so I'm thinking of creating like a halo eye, and I'm taking a little bit more of undone and I'm going to apply it on the inner corner of my eyelid. I'm doing the same small tapping motions to apply it, and while I bring it to the crease, I create like these small circles with the tip of my brush. Alright. I'm going to take my Real Techniques Essential Crease Brush and I'm going to blend this outer edge of my eyeshadow. I'm going to take my Sigma Short Shader brush and apply just a tiny bit on my lower lash line to sort of ensure that the look looks cohesive. Wow, look at that. I think you could like substitute a kajal with this. Again, applying the same shade undone to the inner third of my lower lash line. Again, I would have loved to have like a nice shimmery shade to pop off on the center, but since we don't have that, I am going to go in with Cover, which is like a cool tone brown. I think I'm just going to use my finger and tap the color in the center of my eyelid. I'm going to go in with my Essential Crease Brush and just lightly blend this because we don't want any harsh lines in the colors. I'm dipping it in Cover again because I don't want the color to move, I just want the colors to blend. I'm dipping this Sigma Short Shader brush also in Cover to put it on my lower lash line so that it mimics the colors that we've used on the eyelid. I'm sort of blending the colors together so that the transition doesn't look too harsh. I'm thinking that my inner corner still looks like a little bare, so I am going to go in with Skimp that we used earlier and use it on the inner corner of my eyelid just to give it like a nice pop of some brightness, because we don't have a glitter or anything remotely close to it in this palette. I'm also liking how Skimp looks. I thought it just looks so white in the palette, and because it had like a sheen to it, I thought that it would look slightly jarring considering that my skin tone is slightly golden, but I think it looks quite good. It's not that jarring on my skin tone. I think I'm also going to use Skimp a little bit under the brow bone to give it some definition. I'm also going to use it a little bit under this, for this eye, under the brow bone. This is a very pretty highlighting shade. I am also going to use my René Kajal on this eye. I'm just going to blend it a little bit. So I'm just going to put some mascara and lashes and come back and show you the final look. With mascara and lashes on, and these right here are my finished looks. Take a look. This is look number 1 right here, and this is look number 2. I definitely like look number 2 more because I tend to prefer like bold, dramatic eyeshadow looks. And overall, I have to say I am pleasantly surprised with this really the darkest eyeshadow in this palette, Uncover. Because there was just no fallout, as you can see, because in my experience, whenever I've worked with like really black or dark grey shades, they tend to have so much fallout, and I'm mentally like half prepared to have to like wipe it off. But over here I was so surprised that there's just nothing, in spite of the shadow being like super finely milled, super soft, blendable and extremely pigmented. It just stuck to the place where it was meant to be, and there was no fallout, which I think is great. So overall, I think this is a really fantastic palette. I am not a very big fan of taupey eyeshadows, but I also think that it depends on the kind of taupe, because these I'm really liking. I also think that these will look extremely well on somebody who has lighter eyes rather than really dark eyes. The formula is fantastic. The eyeshadows are like super blendable, super pigmented, very easy to work with. Having said that, I also think that some of the shades in this eyeshadow palette may not suit all skin tones, especially for me. Like you guys saw these, the second and the third shade are practically like you can't tell a difference when it's applied to my skin. They completely vanish. So I think that somebody with a lighter skin tone than mine, they would enjoy this palette more than I would, somebody with my skin tone. I also found myself wishing for more depth or more variety in the shade range. In spite of it being a nude palette, I think they could have done something a little bit different in terms of the color range. I think it's ideal for somebody who has like, who prefers a consistent look day on day, you know, who doesn't like experiment a lot, who doesn't expect a lot from their eyeshadow palette, just requires something very basic to sort of just look very neat and put together, and doesn't really sway to the extremes in terms of creating different eyeshadow looks or whatever. If you loved and enjoyed Urban Decay's Naked Mini palette, or you always wanted to get your hands on an Urban Decay naked palette but you couldn't, I think this is a very good investment in those regards. The eyeshadows are definitely top quality for the buck that you're paying. I think all of them, this entire palette is extremely good in terms of value for money, in terms of performance of the eyeshadows. And it is in limited edition. I know for a fact that this is available all throughout the year. It has been for a while, although I don't think it's available in India right now. They have taken it off the shelf, and I'm not sure if or when it will be back. But I think this is a very good investment if you just want to sort of dip your toes into the Urban Decay Naked pool. And that was it for today's video. Let me know which look you liked the best, look number 1 or look number 2. I definitely like look number 2 more, and I love you guys so much. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked watching it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.